Didn't even go live. Oh, we are live. Hi, everybody. Today we talk social media marketing and motorsports. Hi, everybody. This is Dennis Schiraldi. I am the founder of DOYO Live, the Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference in Youngstown, Ohio. And typically I say riding shotgun, but I'm going to go long snapper punter today. I've got Ryan Martino from Martino Motorsports hanging out at V2 in downtown Youngstown right now. So fortunate to have Ryan along with us. In addition to that, very thankful to have V2 opening up their doors early as they're getting ready for a really large lunch crowd. So on today's show, what we're going to do is we're going to break down some stuff with Ryan. We're going to talk a little bit about the history behind Martino Motorsports and then how they utilize social media as a part of their brand to create awareness and engagement with their fans worldwide. That's right, people. Another Youngstown company just doing big things on a global scale. So we're anxious to dig into that with Ryan. Today's show is being brought to you by R. Kashmiri and Associates, healthcare benefits and travel insurance providers. Also, Juggernaut 3D. Check them out. They've got an interesting webinar coming up on the benefits of utilizing 3D printing and manufacturing, which has a play in automotive because 3D printing is now growing in the automotive, aerospace, manufacturing, and healthcare segments. So glad to have them on board for the show. Ryan, thanks for being here, brother.
Thanks for having me, Dennis.
Yeah, you've been a frequent flyer on a number of our Facebook Lives, and just to show people the importance of this medium, this mechanism, Ryan's relationship in mine really manifested itself through online, through social media.
Through social media, yes.
You picked up some DOYO Live stuff. I think I'm following Martino Motorsports, and then from there we started to exchange some messages, and now we sit here today.
And we definitely have a lot of connections together too. It's amazing it took us this long to link up.
No, I hear that. So why don't we give besides the relationship in the background, why don't you just share some people that maybe already know you or this is a new audience for you on DOYO Live. Why don't you go ahead and give some people some context to the background of yourself personally, your YSU ties, and tell us a little bit about Martino Motorsports.
Okay, my name is Ryan Martino, for those of you who don't know me. I'm very active in the community in Youngstown, so if you're in Youngstown, you probably see my face or heard the name, and pretty active worldwide as well with our fan base and recognition on the NHRA drag racing circuit. I'm a proud Youngstown State graduate, why I'm proud. And went there from 2000 to 2004, played football for coaches Jim Tressel and Coach John Haycock. Had a successful career there and a successful academic career, which puts me on my place today as in Martino Motorsports. So the Youngstown State experience is one I'd never give back. It's a great school from all aspects, great, best professors on the planet, best educational experience, best football experience. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. In particular, if you're an engineering fan, it's got one of the greatest engineering programs in the country. Professors are winning awards left and right. The football program's obviously a 4-time national championship with the runner-up this year. And when I made the choice to take my football career from the high school to collegiate level, it was a no-brainer to stay here and play for my hometown Youngstown State Penguins.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there are a ton of ties there. I'm a part-time professor up at Youngstown State University. Dr. Adam Earnhardt out of the School of Communications brought me in to teach social media marketing courses. Dr. Adam Earnhardt is a second-year committee member here, and we held our event at Youngstown State's Williamson College of Business. Last year, our keynote speaker, Joe Polizzi, who speaks all over the world and is one of the foremost authoritarians in content marketing, commented on the fact that it's been one of the top 3 places in anywhere that he's been to deliver a keynote speech, which was very humbling, but just speaks to everything that we've got going on here. And then obviously, our athletics program as well. It molds young student athletes. I have probably no less than 10 to 15 a semester, and they're some of the most accountable, dedicated students that I have in any of my classes over the past 2 years.
You don't want to deal with Coach Bellini.
Yeah. So the one call or email or text message and actually, what are we talking about? I think Coach Bellini is probably just more of a direct one-on-one guy.
Yeah, he'll take care of matters in his own hand.
So at the national championship game, when you toured AT&T's Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and you dropped the punt, did you land it inside the 10?
I definitely did, and that's probably the first time I touched a football since mid-2000s, and I just still have the touch. But that experience was incredible. You know, it happened so fast with the playoff games, wondering if they were going to make it. You always had faith that they were going to make it, but they're still playing top-ranked teams. And when I think, in fact, as soon as they won on that Saturday night, we had tickets going in the works for the game and then to fly down there. And I'm glad I went down there. I went Friday through Sunday, got to reconnect with a lot of players and alum that I've met over the years. A lot of people that were great supporters of the YSU program traveled there, and it just was an incredible experience. When we went to AT&T Stadium, they were lucky enough to accommodate us there and give us a tour of the facilities.
Yeah.
And actually get out on the field and drop one inside the 10.
Right on, brother. That's awesome to hear. So just want to give a quick shout out, Sharon, thanks for being here today. We got some exciting news to be announcing about Sharon here in the upcoming weeks. And Reed, thanks for dropping by as well. Everybody, this is Ryan Martino from Martino Motorsports, and this is the DOYO Live Marketing Show. So Ryan, we're going to switch gears a little bit, and we talk a little bit about your background, your college experience at Youngstown State. Talk to us a little bit about Martino Motorsports.
Okay, Martino Motorsports is a family-run and operated race program based right here in Youngstown, Ohio. And people see the car when we display it in the area, or if they see a picture of it or a video of it somewhere in Youngstown, they wonder, man, something like that's from Youngstown. And in fact, we've had our race program here since its inception in 1970. My dad ran his career racing locally and then quickly gained the fame and notoriety and support to do it on a national level. He's a multi-time world record, national record holder, won, I think over 10 classes of competition. He just very decorated, as I would say, somebody in the military with a lot of honors and credits and well respected with and without the automotive industry, and something that I was glad to be raised in and brought up with. And I guess it's like they say, it's in your genes, it's in your blood, because when I was old enough to do it, jumped behind the wheel and was very successful from the start.
Yeah? Yeah. And so now you actually race. Talk a little bit about the top fuel drag that you race.
Okay, we have a race car, a race vehicle. It's 260 inches long, which is over 23 feet long, which is great for billboard space if anybody's putting their name on the side of it. But it accelerates within 60 feet. It accelerates less than a second in the half track, which is 8th mile. It accelerates 175 to 180 miles an hour, and through the finish line, it'll trip the beams at 215 to 220 miles an hour in 6.3 seconds. Which is...
Dude, so wait, time out. All right. They shortened the track.
They shortened it a little bit for us, yes.
Because of safety issues.
Yeah, we were running out of shutdown area. Okay. You know, you run a quarter mile and 215 miles an hour and you got a half mile to shut down. It just, mathematics don't add up.
Right. And I know enough. I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to motorsports, but I know enough that they shortened the track for safety reasons. And then on top of that, you know, like every morning when I wake up, my wife's like, you're like shot out of a cannon, but you're practically shot out of a cannon when you go racing on the weekends. What's it like when you're sitting behind the wheel of that race car, the Christmas tree is coming down and it hits green, and now
it's gone. It pulls about 3.5 G's at the launch, which is, I think, actually equivalent to NASA when they take off in the space shuttle. So when people tell you race car drivers like it's the equivalent of being shot out of a shuttle, well, how many race car drivers really been shot out of a shuttle? I compare it to being on an airport one way, except just overload. It goes.
Yeah.
It just sucks down and goes, and before you know it, it's over.
I like how calmly you explain it. I would not be a good race car driver. I would think that the demeanor of a race car driver, for the most part, is a pretty calm.
You have to be. Everything happens so quick there. We're playing with thousandths of a second every time we get behind the wheel of that car.
Yep.
And everything's so critical. Placement of that car on the track for traction, and knowing the car, if you push it to the limits too much, if it's going to hurt something, if you're not pushing it, you just got to be in tune with the car. You got to be in sync. It's like a dance. You know, you got to be with your partner.
Exactly. So this is my transition, by the way. This is the setup into social media.
Right.
So you guys built this brand, and I do want to talk about the legacy of building that brand over the course of the years. It's super impressive. You know, the fact of the matter is that we live in this different world that when your dad, you know, first originally launched Martino Motorsports as to where we live now. But the meticulous nature behind what you do from a race car perspective, track conditions, tire conditions, the weather conditions all play a factor into how you're probably getting the car ready to perform at a high level.
That's absolutely right.
So there's the engineering aspect, and you're analyzing data consistently.
Absolutely. When we raced, my early days at the racetrack, they used to do this, stick your finger in the air and figure, hey, the car's going to run this or that. Now it's become such a scientific chemistry type deal where you got to be constantly behind the weather and track conditions. There's no time for messing around at the track anymore. When we get to the track, it's strictly business from the time we get there to the time we leave.
Okay.
And even with running social media on our way to the track, with connected with sponsors and fans via email or social media, let them know where we're going and what we're doing. To the time we leave there, giving them results of what happens. So everything happens so quick. Racing back in the 70s and 80s and even early 90s was probably 99% fun and 1% work. Now it's the exact opposite. It's all work, 100% work there. And even when we have some downtime, we like to just enjoy our fans and the people who stop by to see us and host our sponsors. We do a lot of Youngstown type things. Everybody's the big families, the cookie table type deal.
Right.
So we bring a lot of Youngstown with us on the road. We always bring DeRusso sausage to cook on the grill, pizza, whether it be Coca's, Wedgwood, something local flavor where people you get to the track and they're like, where's my pizza? Because they can't get pizza. People tell you Chicago's got the best pizza or New York's got the best pizza in the world. Nah.
Dude, I've lived a lot of places. I left here in 1991 and circumnavigated my way back here 4 years ago, and have lived in some great pizza pocket cities of the country. And I will tell you, between the depth and the width of the amount of pizza places that we have and the religion of pizza in this area, we can just have this hour-long show dedicated to simply the top 10.
Right.
I mean, it's a religion here.
We bring sponsors to the area and fans of ours and fellow racers that we run with. Like you talk about this pizza, what's your best slice? But you can't take them one place. It's got to be like the marathon. We're going to take you here. Then you tell me what the best slice is.
Yeah, if you've ever done our pizza cook-off, like there's 10 vendors or 20 vendors in the room, and there's 1,000 people there. But getting back to the analytics that you apply to utilizing in your race life, are those the same types of analytics that you apply when you're looking at social media? Any correlation?
It is. Social media is something that we got friends in the music industry, and basically in 2009, 2010, I think when I was coming out of college, Facebook was just getting big, so there was no social media, made it through the college days, so I really wasn't educated on social media. And guys that we run with in the racing industry, same thing, they don't know anything about social media. So friends of ours in the music industry are very successful and put their careers on the map because of social media. And I think the first wave of social media greatness was YouTube. Everybody wanted to be YouTube superstar. I think Bieber's career was launched on that.
Yep.
So a lot of the guys that we know in the music industry did these video journals of what it's like a day in the life. So I'll take one of our friends, Machine Gun Kelly, for instance, who's got the #1 record 2 weeks in a row right now, and he's on top of the music industry doing well. But, nobody knew him. I went to shows with him when there's 5 people, and I've been to shows where it's, 10, 20,000 people lined up and you can't even get in the door.
Yeah.
And basically because of his social media following, he's developed a bigger and bigger fan base. And, talking with him and just discussing what's going on, he says, man, you got to get on social media and do this. And a couple other guys we know in the music industry says, man, you're missing the board. So we take, I think we were at a trade show in 2010 or 11. We come out of this trade show. It's the world's largest trade show in the automotive industry. Okay. And there's no social media presence. So we made it, a devout pact between my dad and I. We're going to make this a go. Okay. So I think we launched the social media in 2011. At that time, Facebook was the go-to social media. Instagram was just coming out, and Twitter was kind of like more of a celebrity deal. So, you do trial and error process, what's going to work the best for us. So we made our focus on Facebook, strictly because the demographics in racing are mainly older, and let's face it, the moms and the pops and the grandfathers think it's cool to be on Facebook. It's easy to navigate. So the Instagrams and the Twitters really weren't dominating racing. So the car culture and the culture in 2010 to where we are today has the racing scene in general started to see this mass adoption of social media. Obviously you guys were early in helping to drive that, but talk to us a little bit about motorsports culture. Is it a big avenue for
places that other race teams that utilize social media?
I think it's kind of, a lot of people have seen what we've done over the years with social media and kind of like, I don't want to say they copy, but they kind of use us as a model to their social media. So you see a lot of we shoot videos of the car. There's a lot of people using our angles on the car where there's cameras mounted. Or when we do video styles, we want to be innovators, not duplicators. So we're always looking for, we're so visual in today's society with pictures and videos that we want to be that guy that gets the most views, just to put our fellow associates and people involved with our race program, our fans, the best shot of seeing our car in a global market. So
content obviously is driving you forward. You and I talked a little bit off this beforehand, and we put up an article, a blog article that Ryan sent over. You can go to doyolive.com and read the depth of it as well, and you can check out just one of the most amazing 7-8 second videos that's completely engaging, got the right music, it's shot from artsy angles. I don't know if you use a GoPro or not, but your content really is driving that strategy as well, because you've got this great visual landscape, right?
Let's face it, the car is the star. I mean, my dad and I might have sex appeal to this big of a market, but that car is appealing to everybody, and to watch that car is just, it's artful. So what we like to do is, if you give us, like when we do interviews, post-race, they give you the mics, you go down the track 215, 220 miles an hour. As soon as you get out of the car, it's, 110 degrees, and you got all the fire equipment on, and they're sticking a microphone right in front of your face. Well, there's your time to shine. And if they give you a 20-second interview, what good's a bunch of ahs and hums? It doesn't. So our tactic has always been, if you give us 20 seconds, we're going to give you 2 minutes information in 20 seconds. So it's the same thing with social media. You get somebody's attention for that much period of time, you got to make sure you capture the attention and secure, whether it's a view, whether it's a like, whether it's a comment, and just continue to get a share out of it. But with our videos, we took an approach that the same thing. We're going to give you 40 seconds of video in 15 seconds and make you watch it 10 times, because you're going to miss something every time you do it. Use a catchy song. Make you fall in love with that song, and we're going to keep giving you these videos on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. Deanna,
thanks for dropping by. Brian, thanks for dropping in as well. Ryan Martino Motorsports is the Do You Live Marketing Show. If you get the chance, hop over to Martino Motorsports on Facebook and check out these videos. It is pretty amazing. When you look at your Facebook analytics, you're going to see that you're going to get a ton of 3-second views, and really capturing the imagination of people and the attention, because we're all brokering for attention. Let's face it, at this particular time on social media, it's very difficult to do that. And I will tell you that you watch their videos, and whether you're a racing fan or not, it should resonate with you to say, boy, I need to be the Martino Motorsports of a marketing company, of an accounting firm, of a financial firm, and figure out what that engagement is going to be, because it is lights out. And you do how many videos do you plan branded videos throughout the course of a race season?
When we did this, we called it, we did a Wednesday feature on this. Every day we try to have a feature, so if somebody's into something, that we're like Tire Smoke Tuesday, if you like burnout pictures with the smoke coming off the tires. So we did these videos on Wednesday with Jenna De Laurentiis, who's a YSU student, great production artist. Kind of gave her the concept, and because we're so busy, it's tough to do these productions, but she was just right on the ball with it. Exactly, we were 1-to-1 with what we needed to get done, and we did 15 of these because of the success of it and how much fun. She's not a car person. She didn't know about cars, but she had so many
15 videos.
So we did these videos, and she's like, when's the next one coming out? And she's not even a car person, so that we're on the right page when people that aren't car enthusiasts are excited about what we're doing.
Yeah, look at all professional sports right now. They're not worried about me if I'm a baseball purist and I'm nerding out going to a baseball game with my scorebook, because you see people still doing that.
Yeah.
They don't care about that fan. They care about my wife, who's a mom of 3 kids, and how do we get her to the stadium and get that fan engagement. And all professional sports are looking into saying, we have our hardcore fan. They're pretty much going to show up regardless and support this. And if you're able to go into a genre that creates content that's interesting and compelling and expands that critical mass with even beyond that, and maybe they don't come to the track, but they engage with your brand, it's got to have value to you and your sponsors as well.
Absolutely. And social media is an approach that we take 365 days, 366 on the leap year. We do social media posting every day, and it's not fair to our associates and our fans if they don't know what's going on. So,
yeah.
And then the other approach we take is there's 365 days of the same car. How boring. So what we do is mix it up a little bit. My dad's cars in the 80s and the 70s have interest to a different demographic, and those pictures relive memories. They bring up a lot of discussion, like I remember that car, I saw that car on TV.
Sure.
So we bring those pictures back, and then my dad and I are pretty active in the sports and entertainment industries as well, going to concerts and everything that we can get our hands on. You know, if there's an event in town, we're always attending it to support it.
Yep.
You know, we do the tree lighting ceremony with the city of Youngstown and Mike McGiffin and the mayor, and it's a great event. And we drive a car through the parade, which Haas Auto Dealers, you know, they usually donate a car to us that they have on the lot.
Sweet.
It's good for cross marketing, where they can take our experience from the parade and use it to market as we use the car in the parade, and gives people a chance to see a car outside of a car lot in use. I mean, we do a lot of cross marketing as much as we can. But because of these other efforts that we're doing, we're giving you an all-access look at Martino Motorsports. So you're seeing what we're doing behind the scene, and I think that's where social media has become so popular. Everybody's, you know, even with celebrities like, what's Kim Kardashian doing right now? All you do is go to social media or see somebody else, you know where she's at or what she's doing. So, you know, we may not live the most interesting lives, but we're going to portray what we do and get people excited about what we're doing. When we go to these concerts or we're sitting, you know, we get, because of our fame and notoriety, we get to go to a lot of concerts. We're very blessed that we get to sit front row or go backstage and interact with a lot of these artists and get great offers on sporting tickets, where we're sitting at, you know, a Pittsburgh Penguins game right behind the glass where people don't get to see. Well, we're going to give them a view from that angle and let people see what it's like to experience that from that angle. And, you know, and then in the mix, we're always networking with people, trying to build our brand and help build their brand. So a lot of these efforts, I think when Tesla came to the Cabela's Center with Def Leppard a couple years ago, it's a great example. We kind of reached out to each one another, and Tesla's kind of making a comeback tour, and we're interested in Tesla. We had a following with them in the 80s, and kind of reconnect with them and then give them a feedback from our perspective on the show. And then they kind of like promote that on their website. So it's kind of like a cross-marketing deal where it worked out for the best of us, because racing guys are into Tesla, so
absolutely.
They're touring. I think Tesla, since we did that concert, they're going 2 years strong and headlining the tour right now on their own.
Know your tribe, identify your tribe. You've got different buyer personas. You've got your car culture crowd that likes the vintage race cars from the 70s and 80s that are going to relate to that. You've got your crowd that likes certain rock and roll bands. And what a lot of people do not do is they don't go out and they look at a certain genre of music and they look at that audience. That band has a built-in audience with critical mass, and you can tap into that audience by simply figuring out where the engagement lies. It doesn't always have to be the rock star status in the VIP section either. You can attend a conference or you can attend a concert and look at what the trending hashtag is and really jump on that. If you've got a product or a service or a business that is a native into that environment. Let's talk a little bit about how you were going down the path of talking about a Facebook user. So let's talk a little about your Facebook strategy and what you've observed or recognized from the individuals that are on your Facebook strategy before we jump into Instagram. We're probably going to do Facebook and Instagram today, so let's talk a little bit about Facebook.
Well, I'll backtrack to Twitter. So Twitter is, to me, it's, I hate to say it, but it's dead to us as far as racing industry go. If you're
okay,
Kardashian, Bieber, Kanye,
Dennis Schiraldi,
the president. I mean, Twitter is very good to utilize.
Yes.
But for our fan base, there's some people that only use Twitter, so it's unfair to them. So we continue, when we engage every day in social media, we make sure we cover Twitter, we cover Instagram, we cover Facebook. So when we first come out with the social media push, Facebook's the boss. This is where we got to spend our time. So we spent time figuring out what to post on there, and it's kind of like you don't want to dive in head first because you get drowned. So we sit there and figure out what's going on, look at what these guys are doing in the music industry that we follow and that we hang out with to kind of give them a little question. So we dabble in a picture or post weekly, and then it turns into this every day we're posting pictures on there. And we rarely post just text only. So everything that we post, a picture grabs somebody's attention, a video grabs somebody's attention. So we're always throwing something like, we came here today to do this interview. Well, we're at V2, so we might as well give V2 a plug.
Absolutely.
Throw them a plug. And this is a restaurant that we frequent often, weekly. I mean, we come here 2 times a week. If you're ever here, you better get the Ryan Pizza. It's not on the menu, but it's a specialty item.
Dude's on the menu. We brought 200 people down for our marketing conference last year, and they did an amazing job. They gave us the confidence to know that they would deliver and give people a really amazing experience. When we came down from Youngstown State, we wanted it in a great downtown. DOYO stands for Do Youngstown. And they were amazing to work with. Eddie Moses was amazing to work with. All their staff, all their people. They got people here. We had great feedback from the great food here. Obviously, typically I get the meatballs with ricotta cheese, and then I go home and take a nap. But I got to bring a few more people next year. I'm going to get a pizza on the menu.
Yeah, it's about the relationship we've had with Eddie and the staff here. It's just, they're accommodating. I mean, they have build your own pizzas, and we ended up doing a flatbread that we commonly get here because we're on the health kick, trying to stay light and fit for this race team and this race season that we're about to embark. Okay. So it's worked out great. But back to that point, just posting, hey, we're going to be doing this interview live with Dennis Schiraldi, that doesn't do nothing. If you throw a picture on there of V2, people are going to be like, what's that? And then they look into it, then they engage in it, then they already have the time invested, so they might as well read.
So how do you, so your Facebook demographic, you were talking about, you feel like it's widely adopted, especially with probably a certain age segmentation, like 40 plus, 50 plus in the race scene?
I think that's where it lies. Facebook, like I said, to the older generation's cool. It's like the grandparents have the parents own it, and they always brag about it, and they're always creeping on each other's page because they don't have a friend request. So when my dad first got Facebook, trying to explain, for him, it was all humor. He tries to explain to people, hey, you got to follow us on Facebook, and then he doesn't know how to deliver this. Well, this is where you can find us. So it's funny to watch. And engagement is an older demographic. And right now, I think that Instagram's where our focus is. Okay. Because everybody's so visual right now.
One of the things I'll back up before we jump into Facebook is I think that's something that would be completely money for you guys. And I could be wrong about this, but you talk about the 20-second interview after you hop out of a race car going 200 miles an hour. And I don't know how you collect your thoughts, by the way. I mean, to me, I can't even. I know that muscle memory comes into play, but there's got to be a ton of adrenaline, and for you to compose yourself, I could barely do that when I go down to WFMJ and have to give an interview about Super Bowl commercials. So kudos to you. But that said, I think that from my perspective, when you start talking about, that's a traditional PR strategy that relies on TV. Obviously, they've got critical mass. I think that from your own perspective, when I look at blogging, you're your self-publisher. When you look at podcasting, you're your own radio station. And when you look at Facebook and now what it's becoming a TV station practically, you've got this opportunity to almost have your own press conferences. If you build that audience up big enough, you're going to be able to tap into saying, you know what, we're going to hold a press conference at 11 o'clock before, race weekend or something of that nature, and give your fans that press release or that press conference that you don't have to wait for ESPN to come to Youngstown to do that.
Right, and that's where I think Facebook's got the second breath of fresh air there, is through this Facebook Live. And a lot of our guys in the race industry are using these to do press conferences like you're saying, but a lot of our publications, like Drag Illustrated is one of our major publications in the racing industry, and they do a weekly television show or podcast. I mean, obviously you don't have the resources to run a TV show on ESPN or Fox Sports who does our coverage, but this Facebook Live now, you tune on there, there's thousands of viewers on there, and they know every Wednesday at 2, I'm going to tune in.
Yep. So Ryan Martino Motorsports, Dennis Schiraldi from DOYO Live. We're talking about social media marketing in the current world of motor racing, but there's a lot of application out of that. And by the way, if you look at the model is a Content Inc. model. Have passion about and be extremely knowledgeable about a subject matter and create interesting and compelling content. Grow that following as big as you can, and then you turn that into your monetization in a genuine way possible. And you guys do a great job of that naturally here in town. I don't know if Ryan played football at Youngstown State University, was a punter.
Yes.
Was the punter. And you may the one model that actually went from a podcast to now a syndicated radio show across the country is Clay Travis with Outkick the Coverage.
Right.
That started as a podcast, and he just kept at it every day for 2, 3, 4 years. And most people give up too soon before the critical mass takes place. So now you got this critical mass, whether Facebook or Instagram. We'll jump into the Instagram strategy here in a second. But you've got sponsors. You've got a race car that's got a long front end on it.
Right. Top
fuel drag car. Am I saying that right?
Top dragster.
Top dragster. Sorry. And you've got opportunity to have stickers, which is pretty for culturally in racing. When you look at any sort of race car, they generally have stickers along the vehicle. Obviously, from a marketing perspective, creating awareness. How do you go about your sponsorship? How do you get sponsors, first of all?
Well, you're talking about the appearance of the decals on the car with our associates. And, that was a big argument that my dad and I had when we designed this last race car was it's got to be viewable. It's got to be something the fans like. It's got to have colors they like. It's got to photograph well. So when we get these associates and they appear in magazines, their names can be clearly seen. A lot of the guys you race with will throw decals on the car. They don't spend the time to make sure they're straight or they're all collapsed together. Make sure that each associate in a race team's got the proper amount of space in the photographs well, and that everything's in line and uniform. I mean, who wants to look at a car that's every stack? So our car, if you look at it, it's beautiful. In my opinion, we've got a lot of best appearing awards for that car right out of the gate. So we got this car that's top notch. Associates want to be involved with it because it looks good in magazines. It's recognizable worldwide. NGK Spark Plugs is one of our associates for over 20 years, and it just appeared in January their catalog. You're talking a worldwide brand with, they sponsor X amount of teams a year, and then here we are poster childs for January because that car looks so good and we do a good job of marketing. So there's a lot to get out of it.
How long will you race that car?
That car, we could race for a couple years, but there becomes a point where it becomes a hot car, and then it's time to get rid of it because it's worth something. And to us, we're at the highest level we could be at the sportsman level, drag racing, and to make the next step to the professional categories cost millions, if not billions, to maintain. So in our sport, the greatest driver, like in the NFL, the greatest athletes are in the NFL. Our greatest drivers are in the sportsman level, and it's because they work full-time jobs. They have other commitments and family commitments that they can't compete on a national level in a professional category running these cars. So to say that, you guys aren't the greatest racers out there because you're not driving, with John Force, a funny car, you're not driving with Don Schumacher and Top Fuel, it's insulting because I guarantee you strap me or my dad in one of those professional category cars if we had the funding, and we'd be competitive and winning races too.
Yeah.
It's just that point about drag racing. So when we're taking approach with our sponsors, social media is a key element to us maintaining sponsorships we have. Okay. And for us to continue to gain sponsorship. Our numbers, aren't as high as, in the hundreds of thousands, but I see people with hundreds of thousands of followers on social media. And to me, that's just a number because they have those sponsors on the side of their race cars, delivery and content, quality, and what they're getting out of it in return. We give the 365 days of exposure for our associates, and that's something that they can't really buy. I mean, it's not forced upon us, but it's become a standard almost because of what we do, that they're requiring once a month you got to post something with their sponsor. And if somebody's giving you a product or they're giving you financial support, why wouldn't you give that to them in return? I mean, they're paying people $60,000, $100,000 a year in the social media, or just to run their social media accounts. So for us to take a small piece of that pie, we're going to give them that delivery and make sure that they're getting a daily exposure. And if we attend a concert and we're putting a concert picture up there and hitting the concert demographics, these people go to our social media pages and boom, they see the sponsor's name. The house, or you're going to get, if we have a sponsor, it's a non-automotive industry product, and O'Reilly's down the street's got a calendar of ours hanging up in the wall. It's like kind of one of the things. How are you ever going to see it if it's not an auto parts store?
Right.
For some of these associates we're tied in with. So we try to give 360 degrees of coverage, 365 days a year.
That's a branding conversation. Becky Petruzzi, thanks for dropping by. She is on our committee for DOYO Live, and you want to give a shout out to Sarah?
What's up, Sarah?
So branding conversation, right? We all go through this conversation about what's the name going to be, what's the color of the business, what's the color schematic, how are we going to do these certain things, and yours just happens to go very fast. down a raceway. But obviously, it has bigger significance because, again, the aesthetics and the way that people are going to interact with that's very important from that whole brand, and it's obviously very well thought out. And I can appreciate it because one of the things I preach to people in our sponsorship agreements, you call them associates, is that it's nice to have your logo onto our website or onto a sign. Everybody feels good about that, but at the end of the day, we're changing the game in what we do in the sense that we want to integrate our sponsors, a part of our strategy on a consistent basis, put them into our social media strategy regularly, put them into our blog, our video strategy, and even when they're not, we will look for people like, come here at V2 today, like you said. So I feel like you're doing all the right things in that space. And I commend you for those efforts. I feel like you're leading the way because a lot of people, again, they it might be a logo on my website. It's their logo onto your race vehicle, but the extra step that you take brings additional value to those individuals. And the world that we live in today, the fact of the matter is that you can get that engagement when you're walking into a restaurant on a Thursday and you don't have to be actually at that race is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Instagram. And you were talking, you sent the blog that's up on DOYO.com. Ryan Martino from Martino Motorsports here today at V2 in downtown Youngstown, talking social media marketing, Youngstown State football, and a couple other questions that we're going to get to as we start to button things up today. So you had mentioned that there's other social media accounts that have huge followings that are out there, and I see this as well, to where people were either early, maybe they bought followers just to have a vanity number,
right?
But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the engagement versus the ratio of engagement versus your followers. So I just was with a local brand last week here that does things across the country. I'm going to start doing some work with them with Instagram. And we were talking about some other people that are in their space, and they had the similar question. This group has 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 followers. And when I went and drilled down into looking at the followers versus the engagement of likes and comments, it wasn't an equal ratio, meaning that they were getting anywhere between a 15 to a 20% engagement per post for the amount of followers that they had, the amount of comments and likes and shares that they get. And there are people that had triple the amount of following were getting like 1% engagement. So that tells me right there that the following that was built was not built on purpose. It's a false following. And it's really not doing anybody any good except for the fact that they walk around and say, we got 500,000 followers. Talk a little bit about your Instagram strategy. How have you gone about building up a following on it? What do you do to engage with your audience on Instagram?
Well, just like you were saying, the first thing that came to our mind is we went to a concert last week at the House of Blues. They take great care of us. But I'll tell you what, they had DNCE there. It's one of the Jonas Brothers and a couple other band members that are put together.
Dude, by the way, we gotta start kicking it, man. You go to these concerts, like feel free to like turn your boy a call and like we're down like that now, right?
Yeah. Get a lot of those requests.
Not so much, but anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but we had this DNCE. They're a world-class tour. They're winning all these awards. They're #1 iTunes, whatever. They're very, very good band. I mean, we go to a live concert. I'm backstage with these people, and we end up getting a picture of them trying to do Script Ohio, and they're not from Ohio, they understand it, but they know the Ohio thing, so they're OHI. So we're trying to do this with 5 people in a 4-person deal, and we're trying to get it to work out. So we get this picture, we throw it up on our social media thinking it's the coolest thing ever. And I mean, if Ohio State ever found out that we had it, we tag them in there, there's people from Ohio State that saw it. But this is something that's cool. You got this band that not even from Ohio, doesn't probably like Ohio State, but we got to do a Script Ohio. I mean, something like that. So there's a lot of stuff that we throw out there that are, man, this picture is a great camera angle. The sun's coming down. I mean, just a great picture of the car. These photographers we work with, like Alex Owens and Len Smith. These guys are all great photographers that get great shots of our car in action doing great things. And you post the stuff on social media, and it's like, come on, man, this thing should have got more than 100 likes. So, to that aspect, you obviously you're an expert on this, but seeing what time to post things, what days of the week are more popular for posting in the morning and the evenings, most of the people we deal with are business people. So, if we're not catching them first thing in the morning when they're waking up, we got to catch them before they go to bed, because during the day they're tied up in meetings all day. We got to learn our demographic, which we've got figured out. Our fan base, we pretty much have figured out. So it's kind of interesting to see who we engage with, where they are in the world. So if we got an associate of ours or a fan of ours is out in California, if we post something at 7 a.m. or 8 o'clock in the morning, they're 3 or 4 hours behind.
Right.
Depending where they are.
And again, coming back down to what what your primary focus is at a race is to go out and win races. You're utilizing a ton of data to make your decisions on how to best tune a high performance vehicle and perform at a high level. And you apply that same mentality to social media, which I don't think a lot of people, I hate to be generalist with that statement, but there's a lot of novice out there that look at it and say, we're going to post on Instagram and we're just going to throw a post out there. And you're studying all this data, and I couldn't commend you more for that. When Instagram decided to let you attach your business account to Facebook and they started to give you some analytics behind that, it was incredibly important, because it took a lot of the manual labor that was involved in that, of looking at your posts, and you should still be doing that. But I agree with you. I'll have a post that I think is lights out, and it's not of a puppy or a kid, and I'm like, this is going to be amazing. Get ready, because your world's going to change tonight. And you end up with 25 likes, and you're like, the world doesn't like this. And then you're like, you don't even put thought into something. You put an Instagram picture out there, but you do a lot of the right technique, and you're like, why did the world just completely embrace this? So it's interesting.
We spend about a half hour a day dedicated to social media between our schedule. Really? And a lot of people don't put that kind of effort in, but it takes plan what you're going to do. Is this the right picture? Think about events that are going on right now. Like if we have a race that's coming up and there's an associate tied in with the event, we try to plan if it's a big, like say a company had a big Super Bowl success with a commercial, and we were sponsored by Coors Beer for, I think, a little over 10 years. So if they had a big Super Bowl commercial, we'd want to come out with this follow-up to the Super Bowl success they had with the picture of the car, because people are interested in Coors and stuff that they're doing. So we try to tie in with events that are going on.
So as we come down the stretch here, Ryan Martino from Martino Motorsports. Ryan, thanks so much for dropping by today. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to share some thoughts. We're going to repost this with all the notes so that you can go back and hear what Ryan was talking about, and then obviously you can probably implement that in some of your strategies, as long as you're not in motorsports.
They could take it. Jump on in, the water's fine.
So a lot of people are so focused too on their posting strategy. But do you do anything to build your audience, an emphasis into non-posts? So meaning who you follow, liking other pictures or commenting on other pictures?
Well, when we first got an Instagram deal, I kind of told my dad, I said, we're going to do this without any followers and see how far we get. And it became a goal to get to 1,000 without following a single person. So when we hit that 1,000, now we're on a roll. So now we can start following people. So we follow the people that support our race program. Some of our biggest supporters on social media, we follow some of their accounts. But you don't want to flood your wall, because as soon as you start flooding your wall with people that you're following, then you get lost in transition of, like Canon Filters, they had a great post and something we should be supporting and following and sharing with others, and it kind of got lost in the mix because we follow so many people.
Right.
And I've never been a fan of following more people than are following you, but I understand that if you engage more people, the more people are going to come over to your deal. So, there's give or take different strategies. We just take a different approach to that.
You know what though? I did the same thing. Right now across all my social media platforms, I'm staying disciplined to the fact that until I get my ratios a little better, equaled out on all the platforms, I'm staying disciplined to that plan, because you have to. And that's such a good point. You miss out on these opportunities of influencers or sponsors. Now, going one step further from a strategic perspective, you implement a hashtag strategy.
Yeah, we're called the hashtag killers or the hashtag kings. We hashtag everything till they won't let us hashtag no more.
Tagging people in posts?
Tagging people is appropriate because, you know, our car has so many people tied in with it, so it's something that they could utilize. If it's a great picture of the car and they think it's going to draw attention to their product or their services, you know, like NGK, if they'll see a great picture of our car on the track and think that if we share this on ours, it's going to attract some more people and followers and likes,
okay,
they're throwing our picture up on their site and sharing it.
All right, and then location.
Location's key.
Have you noticed any though when you post utilizing the location, especially from a raceway? Have you noticed any additional engagement?
I'll tell you what's cool about it is you go to the location and people that are courteous enough to use the location when they take pictures is you'll see a lot of fan pictures of your car that are great shots of the car where you could actually reach out to these people and do it. That's something that
love it.
We'll never know existed. Somebody has the greatest video ever, our car, you know, going the fastest pass it's ever gone. What good? We don't have, you know, we have one video, but we have the coolest angle. Now we could connect through social media and deliver. That we can get that video off them somehow and give them the praise that they need and maybe make them into a little bit known more photographer, videographer.
Love it. Do you stories? Have you started to dabble with?
The stories is actually a cool way. You know, when we're backstage at some of these concerts where you don't want to fill up your wall with some of these oddball things that are going on. Like we were at I think we were at a concert and guys that we raced with owned Jake's Performance in Columbus, which is one of the like top 5 automotive retailers in the world. And the one guy has a guitar case had a Jake's thing on it. Well, you don't want to like, it's cool to share, but it's not like cool to keep on there forever. So you're like, hey, boom, there's a picture of Jegs, and people are like, man, it's pretty cool that Jegs is on there. Something that's going on backstage, you know, that, you know, you engage in people, and then they see it, and it's kind of cool, but it's a funny, haha, like, hey, this is cool, but it's something that you don't want to put on there forever. But I think that's the future of our race season this year is the stories. Yeah. There's a lot of story stuff that goes on to and from the race that could be video journalized or photo that fans will like, but it's something that's, yeah, if it's on there forever, it's not going to really do us any good. But just kind of like people want to tune in to see your story, to continue the story. Like we were at the DNCE concert, like, you know, you're on the bus, then you're backstage, and then people are like, man, I'm going to keep checking back, like, to see what's going on.
Fear of missing out.
Yeah, but you can't. Like, you need to post on social media. It takes so much time to post a picture and make sure it's hashtagged and tagged properly. But with that stuff, it's boom, upload, boom, upload, boom, upload, and it's over. Yeah. And then people are following, and then they follow the next day to see what pictures you get. So it's great.
I love it, man. I think that you guys are doing all the right things when it comes down to it. I hope that people that are dropping by, AJ and Adriana, thank you so much. This is DOYO Live Marketing Show. I'm Dennis Schiraldi with Ryan Martino of Martino Motorsports, talking social media in a lot of depth here. And I hope that you, if you're a business that has a social media strategy, or you're thinking about getting into it, you hear what this guy has to say, because he's extremely knowledgeable, passionate, and dedicated to the process. And it is very methodical, it's very pragmatic, it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work as well. And if you approach it from that perspective, a scientific with art perspective, it could extremely benefit and build your brand. And that is the approach. Let's see, we got about 5-10 minutes left. One quick question for you, or actually, let's do this. Any burning questions that you want to ask me?
Well, something I want to add is we just got our new promo materials, and that's something that we take pride in, is doing promo materials.
Sweet. And
with social media. So City Printing just did these for us. These cards, they're front and back. The front we use a race picture, and on the back we use something with the city of Youngstown, because we're city of Youngstown proud as well. But something you'll realize on there is social media, how to get a hold of you, reach in contact with. There might be a fan that has something that wants autographed. So we put our social media tags and everything. Now, how they know your race car, they know you, how they're going to get a hold of you. So everything that you do promo-wise, which we do, we always include social media so people can connect with us. And that's something that, you know, we got fans out in California, we got fans worldwide, so we'll have friends in Dubai that, hey, we like one of your shirts, can we get something on there? And so we're sending, awesome. You know, we're sending overseas, but they can't connect with us unless they have some form of social media connection. So if you're doing promo materials or doing a flyer for an event, you got to be able to be reached. You know, phone numbers are kind of more intimate, but social media is loose. So you just got to have somewhere to reach you.
To be perfectly clear, I am a marketing person first that loves telling a good story. And social media and digital gives me the opportunity to do that. That's because where 90% of all the eyeballs go. You're either going to Google or you're going to social media. That said, I am a huge fan of print. To my own oncoming from a branding perspective, I'm the digital person. I have a digital marketing conference, but I am about disruption. And when you can produce a high quality image like that, that is very, very truly engaging, that's going to have a lasting effect, maybe end up on somebody's wall and it's going to sit there. I put a tremendous amount of value in that.
These are on, we go to restaurants all over the country and they're on the walls. You know, we go to people's house, they have them hanging up in their rec rooms on the walls. They're great material, and these are our materials and our associates across the bottom too. So if they display this nice picture of Youngstown with the car and they're big fans of Youngstown, and if they're, you know, this could be on their wall, we might as well give them something to look at. And then when they go to the store and they see this logo, hey, they support the Martinos, we got to support them. Our sport's very brand loyal,
yeah,
and people support the people who support us.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that one with us. So one of the things I love your Instagram, because you're showing me pictures with the sun setting, with the vehicle, with the race car, Tino's Toy.
Well, back in the 70s, they had kind of like a, you know, they didn't have a brand concept, they had a car concept, so people wanted something to follow. So a lot of the drivers came out with these names for their cars. So my dad's Martino, and they call it Tino's Toy. I'm not a fan of it because that's subject to debate. Like if you see somebody wearing a Tino's Toy shirt on, where it can kind of look, but I branded us as Martino Motorsports, so I'd rather stick with our marketing. That's more of a tribute to my dad and the racing career he's had. And that's brought a lot of the old fans back out of the woodwork saying, hey, there's that Tom Martino. I see that Tino's Toy on the car. And it's great for that, but the branding that we're going for, we're always looking for a better associate to stick right on that car in that Tino's Toy spot. So that's my goal this offseason. So if you have a company, you want to invest in this race program and get 365 days of exposure, you get this nice big old spot here.
Mr. Franco, thanks for dropping by. Todd Franco from The Vindicator. Yes, print is good. It is not dead. So thanks for your support and dropping by today with Ryan Martino from Martino Motorsports. One of the things that I think would be, and this is, I'm giving you some unsolicited advice now. All right, so
always listen to what people say, no matter what. Always listen.
So listen. Here's what I think. I think that if you can document your journey from you packing, your race season is grueling. It is not easy. Like there's not a lot of people. You know, this is one of those things. Like if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Right. Like I mean, it's not. It's a grind. You guys are on the road a lot. You work day jobs. You've got this entirely other animal. You guys are active and support the Youngstown community greatly, and it's greatly recognized and appreciated. I love the fact that you take me behind the scenes at the concert, show me your lifestyle. It's one of the ways that you and I connected because, you know, frankly, I'm somewhat limited on my knowledge about drag racing, if that's not come across in this interview, but you've made it easy to understand. But I'd love to see the process along with that, meaning that you start packing up and planning for your race. I'm guessing there's probably prep meetings, planning meetings, and stuff that you don't want to strategically give away to your competition. Right. But the picture of you guys sitting around with the notepads, to you packing up the vehicle late night and hitting the road and that gas station stop in the middle of nowhere, to you up in the morning doing the check on the car, to you actually then that varnished picture of you racing it. There's likely a trophy involved of some sort, and then you're on your way back home. Whether that's you're capturing that with the stories, or you're capturing that with 3 or 4, somebody's photographing that, and then you're coming back on Instagram and telling that story. I think it would be amazing.
Yeah, we're in the process right now of working with Anthony Marchionda and RJ Thompson through the City U project, and doing this Youngstown type deal, exactly what you're saying, like a video, whether it be monthly or bi-monthly, just letting people know how active we are in the community, what the community has to offer, and then tying the race car with that. And I think that'd be great to give people a video behind the scene of what's going on. We got some stuff in the works. We can't really announce what we're doing, but we're right along that same process.
Nice tease. Follow these guys on Instagram. So we're gonna do rapid fire questions, or put a button on this thing today. We're down at V2 in Youngstown, Ohio. So, morning or night out?
I rarely sleep, so I'm gonna say night out. But with all the stuff we do, it's tough to get sleep. So you gotta get this work in some way.
Coffee or tea?
Neither.
Really?
Water, Meander's finest.
No kidding.
Yep.
Nice. I don't know how you do it, but anyway. First thing you do when you wake up?
Probably check social media just to see what happened while I was sleeping and just to see what's going on.
So on that note, because I'm getting this answered like religiously outside of somebody that goes to the bathroom, they wake up, they check their phone first thing in the morning.
Hold it. You gotta hold it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you check your social media. I'm thinking that I need to start planning a post at 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning that's going to go into that first thing in the morning feed.
And I think it's more visual when you wake up in the morning just to see what's going on. People aren't going to be in the mood to read as soon as they come out of bed.
True. What's on your desk?
My desk is pictures of the race car trophies and a to-do list.
Organized?
Very organized.
Yeah, I thought so because I got a couple emails from you, and I appreciate that. You can contribute content to our blog. You can, the platform is being built so people can. You got to tell a marketing story, but you can also tell a story about your brand in the context of that and take advantage of it. I'm glad that you did.
We got to tell Todd Frank, but there's also a daily Vindicator on the table too.
Yeah, there's a daily. Well, Vindy.com for me.
Vindy.com.
And everywhere I've ever lived, every day I woke up and read the Vindy.com. Whether it's New York City, Columbus, Cleveland, I always stay true to my roots there. Social media site you can't live without.
Ooh, man. It's either Google or Instagram because Google is the gateway to anything in the world, and Instagram is Insta-good.
Insta-good. You don't waste time at work, but when you do, what do you do?
I rarely have a downtime. If I get the break from work and I'm working downtown, I always go to One Hot Cookie and get a cookie.
I heard that, by the way.
I think we have our own cookie and to work there too because we spend so much money there. I think if we had sharing there, we'd be pretty good. But we always frequent One Hot Cookie when we're downtown, and it's a good break in the day, and you get to see the girls working there.
And Bergen's a breakout session leader at DOYO Live. So that's a nice plug for her as well. I was out there last week. Outside of drag racing, NASCAR, open wheels, international racing, do you have any favorites?
I'm a fan of just motorsports in general. It's all got its different demographics. So when we were at the monster truck deal, they had the toughest monster truck at the Cabelli Center last week, and a great show, great family show. And it's something that, if we had the time to do it, we would definitely engage in and do it. But that was a great time. We go to IndyCar race in Mid-Ohio through a guest of other IndyCar teams and do a great job getting around there, and some of our associates tie in. So we're a big fan. I think we're going to the Supercross event coming up in Detroit. We're a fan of just racing in general. But because of how busy we are, we just can't sit down and watch 3 hours of a NASCAR race or 3 hours of an IndyCar race.
All right. So when we leave here at V2 today, Ryan and I are going out to West Federal, and we're going to have a running race.
Put your money on.
Because he's in a business suit and wingtips. But kidding. Let's get to it. You talked a lot about music. Rap, rock, or country?
Anything but country.
Have you mentioned?
Unless it's pre-95. I don't discriminate on any music. I go to country concerts. I go to orchestras.
Pre-what?
Pre-95 country was okay. But today it's like, but if, we do good, we're friends with, we've been to Lee Bryce's shows and backstage. A great performer. Nothing against those guys. They're just not into the music scene. My dad's into that kind of crossover country thing, and it's just country pop to me.
I'm Bo Cephas, Johnny, the Highwaymen. That's my country.
That's country.
Yeah.
This stuff today.
People are like, you listen to, I do, but Chuck D?
Chuck D, Public Enemy, yeah.
What's the backstory there?
We linked up at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which we obviously get invited to a lot of events and support the Rock Hall. It's a great tool for people that are fans of music, and they do a lot with education and music. But ended up having a great conversation with Chuck D at Public Enemy. He talked a lot about branding and how important it is to have community support. And there's a guy in the music industry that studied what rock guys were doing and transferred that over to the rap industry and was very successful, creating a logo like the Rolling Stones or a logo like Led Zeppelin, and then taking that to the rap level and then using that success to actually gain fame and notoriety. And then you take what he did with linking up with Anthrax, and they ended up touring together as the first ever rock and rap thing. So I mean, there's a lot to learn from everybody. You know, when you meet people, you always pick their brain and how do you get where you were. I mean, you're never too young to listen or learn, you're never too old to listen or learn.
You got to go out. You got to go out of your comfort zone, your vertical, study it, and bring back what you can, because it's going to differentiate you. I'm a huge Chuck D, and I'm a huge Public Enemy fan.
Yeah, great guy.
We're at V2 in downtown Youngstown. Lunch crowd's coming in, so we got to get out. Biggest influence on your life?
It's just everybody I interact with, good or bad. I mean, there's a lot of people that touch your ways, and they touch your life in different ways. And whether it's a young kid coming up to you asking for an autograph, like I said, there's always something to be learned, and there's always something to be appreciated. There's a lot of humbling experiences in our sport. And just, I'm not going to limit to one person, because everybody is a hero to me in some way, shape, or form, whether they have a disability or whether they're the most successful business person in the world.
Sweet. So, besides Martino Motorsports, who's your favorite professional motorsports team that's out there today that you look at and you?
I don't, like when I grew up, this interview burned in my head, and it was with Shaquille O'Neal, and he says, don't ever strive to be like me, always strive to be better than me. So there's obviously people that you look at for, you know, their tactics and advertising tactics and how they associate. But, you know, growing up, I never had a favorite driver or a favorite race team. It was always Martino Motorsports is the champion, and we're going to do whatever it takes to get to that next level.
Love it. Some swagger, Youngstown swagger, brother.
Yep.
We're building a world-class marketing conference. We're going to make it the best in the universe.
That's right.
Without a doubt. And we got the resources and the people like Ryan and other great organizations in town to do that. So we're going to end this with Ryan, make sure you tell everybody your full name and your business.
I'm Ryan Martino, the better-looking half of Martino Motorsports, if my dad's following along, which he is. You could reach us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Martino Motorsports, one word with the S at the end. And because the Twitter's handles are limited, we have to go with Martino Racing on Twitter. But it's something that definitely you're going to want to follow. If you watch the interview, let us know what you think. Let us know what you thought. And if you want to link up for business, or if you want to link up and just discuss social media or marketing in any aspect, or just love for sport or some passion you shared, let us know. We're going to be at that 90s concert this Sunday at the Cavelli, so you want to tune into that, because we might have a little backstage special for you.
Sweet. You got time for lunch?
Got time for lunch.
We're going to race and see who eats first. He's tired of the racing jokes. Thank you, everybody, for dropping by today. Let us know what you think. If you want to be featured on the DOYO Live Marketing Show, all you have to do is inbox me. This is free. We get together because we want to help businesses in the community make sure that they get the support they need and utilize the platform to doing that. I'm Dennis Schiraldi, founder of DOYO Live Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference, coming to you on August 2nd and 3rd, 2017, our second installment. Thanks so much, everybody, for dropping by today.